Hey, this is Hunter with the Kingdom Business Owner. Man, today's episode, there is a crazy testimony of what God did and is doing in my friend Jason Tuohy. And so you're not going to want to miss this one. It'll both convict you and inspire you to lean into what God's doing in your business. So tune in today. Well, hey there, I am Hunter with the Kingdom Business Owner, and today I have my good friend, Jason Tuohy, who is a serial entrepreneur, has a crazy testimony, and is just a man that's after God's heart. I've been just impressed and convicted to hear your story and your testimony, and I know that our viewers today, man, they're going to be pretty lit up about your story, because it's one of ups and downs and all over the places. So, Jason, glad to have you on the podcast, man.
I'm very blessed to be here. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So what business do you run? Give us the 30-second rundown on the current company that you're running.
So current company I'm running is called NCS Systems, Northern Colorado Security. We do remote guard. So basically we stop crime before it happens. We do risk management. So most of our clients are property managers, real estate investment trusts. We like to make communities safer by installing our product and intervening on crime before it could happen.
So good, man. So good.
Yeah.
And I've seen your product at work, and you guys are using AI to stop crimes before they happen, man. I've seen the actual videos of it, and it's sweet. So anyways, man, we're not going to talk too much about your business. We're going to talk more about you today. Jason, you have a crazy testimony. God's been at work in you for a while. So, man, are you okay to just jump in? Can you just share your testimony?
Yeah. I'm pretty active in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous right now. So I call myself a recovered alcoholic. One of the things we read every time we have a meeting, it says that we share in a general way what it used to be like, what happened, and what it's like now. And to me, that's just always been a testimony of what God's done in my life. So I'll share a little bit about what it was like, and would really like to focus more on what he did,
yes,
what happened, and then what things are like now.
Yeah.
So, briefly, I grew up out of Los Angeles, California. My identity, never really knew who I was. I was born, my father's white, my mother's Chinese, and growing up in Southern California, it's a challenge, especially in the 90s, because there was a lot of gangs, there was a lot of those type of situations. So I was a chameleon, just pretending to be whatever people wanted me to be. I can remember being 14 years old thinking I was Filipino because it was cool. When I was 16, I decided to become Mexican. And that just led me down a path of drugs very early on. Don't want to go into too many details, but by the time I was 15, 16, I was already going to juvenile halls, county jails, and this is in Los Angeles, so it's pretty scary.
Yeah.
Going to those places. And yeah, by the time I was 19, I graduated and went to prison. So, it was the drugs, it was the people I was hanging out with, and it was just that lost feeling of not knowing who you are, having any identity, so taking on the identity of the world and what people wanted you to be.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I was, it was anything you could think of, crimes I was committing. I mean, armed robberies, stealing cars, gun charges, those type of things. So at, 21, I'd gotten out of prison, and after spending 2 years up there, and I was looking for something to do, and I had 2 strikes. And in California at the time, 3 strikes, you're out, and you spend the rest of the time in prison. So luckily, my father had opened up a company. I started working with him, and for the next 10 years, I moved from California, moved to New York City. It was living in New York City in your 20s is kind of a debauch. I didn't know anything about God. I was actually an enemy of God. I could identify with Paul a lot because I read the scriptures, but I read them so that if I ran into a Christian, I could argue with them.
Wow.
And I was a persecutor of Christians, I would say. So more drugs, more alcohol. I probably my last year there, I ended up doing this to my arm. Had a pretty bad accident due to drugs and alcohol. I look back on that occasion and I realized that God was really there for me. I think of that scripture that really comes to my mind is that, but God demonstrates his own love for us, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us.
Amen.
And I was the worst of sinners. And so on this, I had climbed 5 stories trying to get into my apartment, and I fell out of a fire escape.
Whoa.
And I almost died. So that's a bit of what it was like. When I moved to Colorado in 2008, that was my first experience. My sister had sent me a purpose-driven life. It just so happened at the recovery house I was staying at, another gentleman had gotten a purpose-driven life, and we just started reading every day. And I'll never forget, there was a pastor who would patiently take my questions. I met with him every week, and I was still trying to disprove the gospel. The Bible talks about how you either love Jesus or you hate him, and I was still in that. I thought he was arrogant. I thought that, why does this guy have to say he's the Son of God? And so I would meet with this pastor and I'd ask him these questions, and he was just so patient with me. And for about 6 months, because I remember it was the book of Ecclesiastes that really struck me, because I had tried all those things. I had tried cheering myself with wine. I had tried making money. All of it was meaningless.
Yeah.
And, at some point in there, the pastor, after about 6 months, I'll never forget, he said to me, Jason, I get a sense that you're trying to understand life and figure out that one thing. And he says, I can promise you this, but I can promise you this, you can stand with one foot on the shore and one on the boat. He says, you're never going to find that answer. But the minute you take your foot off that boat, he goes, I can promise that life's not going to be easy, but you will have the answer that you're looking for.
Come on.
He told me to pray about it. Didn't ask for an answer. I prayed about it. And I think that was the first audible voice I heard from God, because I heard him say, go get baptized.
Wow.
I got baptized in Loveland Lake in April. It was like 40 degrees out. So none of these warm water baptisms. It was, and since then, my life has changed completely, So that's just kind of more of what happened and what it's like now. Yeah.
Wow, man. Incredible testimony, man. And it's just the redemption that's in where you were, and now the work that you're doing now is, incredible. It's incredible. You said something as you were talking about identity. Like, man, I just didn't know where my identity was. Can you speak a little bit about that? Like, how did you start to form your identity coming out of identitylessness? Like, how did you walk into that in Jesus?
Yeah, well, and I think this is probably a struggle that a lot of people go to, but when you're living in the world, it started with my nationality, but I was always just trying to seek out something, seeking out my identity in different things, like, can I be successful? Seeking out our identity and I had read through all the different, I was a Buddhist for a while, practiced Taoism, even read the Quran. That's how desperate I was. I read through the whole Quran and was just trying to, what you find with other things, when you try to get fulfillment out of life and the things of the world, it leaves you all empty. You can go to a certain point, I do these things for a year and a half, and then always I would run back to my crutch, and my crutch was alcohol.
Yeah. And
because none of it filled. So when I found Jesus, when Jesus found me, it's, you can't explain it. There's a peace. we're all I'm searching for one thing in life, right? Peace and purpose.
Come on.
And I had no idea what my peace and purpose was, and that's what I'd been searching for all those years. But when Christ found me, and then I realized that, you have these, I mentioned to you, me and my father, who comes from a Catholic background, thinks that you have to do something to get to Jesus. And he was taught that, no meat on Friday, you have to do something. But what he's learning, and I'm learning it through him again, is that it's not about any doing.
Yeah.
It's only about believing and receiving.
Yes.
Right? It's a free gift. And what do you have to do if someone gives you a gift? All you have to do is say thank you for it. And then, and after that, it's just, he says, I've been thinking about that. He says, believe, receive, and then just follow. And then when I follow him, it's like all of a sudden everything in your life that didn't have a lot of meaning all of a sudden has meaning and purpose. And then you realize that everything that you went through, everything that you put yourself through, God had a plan in it, a purpose. And, you mentioned I'm so thankful for the work that I get to do today. I pinch myself sometimes because I think that I was the guy on the other side of the camera and there was a real aha moment for me. I remember the aha moment when I was putting up a camera one day and I saw this thing that it's intervening, and I thought, what if one of these had been there when I was 16 breaking into someone's house and would have intervened on me?
Wow.
Could have been a whole change of direction. So the moment that I learned that we could bring our kingdom work into the work that we do, and that this could actually stop somebody from making a decision that will ruin the rest of their life, it added to such a new meaning to the work that we get to do on a daily basis.
So good, man. Well, man, one of the things you said, you talked about Ecclesiastes, and that book in the Bible has radically changed me as well. Of just, the searching and the desperation to find what you're talking about, the peace and the purpose. And so obviously Rick Warren's book really helped you in that. Ecclesiastes really shows you that it's just a dead end. Everything is a dead end. And so, man, how are you walking in peace and purpose now as a kingdom entrepreneur?
That's a good question.
Not that you have to have all your stuff figured out, by the way.
No, well,
this is like a in progress, in journey situation.
Well, I guess for me, and I think you could probably identify, being a serial entrepreneur, I'm always, even being saved, I was always still chasing. It's deceiving, right? I think this is why Jesus talks about money, because I would say up until a couple of years ago, my goal was to make a lot of money, to become a millionaire. And I've started these ventures. I've had multiple businesses that failed. And I think somewhere in there, I heard a word from God a couple of years ago. So I started another business. I was going to sell these goods on Amazon. And I had this business that was right in front of me that had made me successful. And I heard God say, he's saying, Jason, you could do 5 things not well, or you could do what I've already blessed you with, that I could fulfill my purposes in, and focus on that one thing that I've already blessed you with. And that part and the other realization that what we do could actually help change lives. I remember that profit motive just kind of going out the window. It was another great book too that I really loved that helped change me, was Simon Sinek's Start With Why. Right? Why am I working? What am I doing here? And once I figured out a strong why, in combination with what I learned from EOS through the Foundry, getting that vision track organizer done, and being able to succinctly say, who cares what you're doing? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And that really changed the focus. So now profit, it's not so much a motive anymore. Now it's, if I could serve him through the work that we do, be of service to others, and just help people, and I think as kingdom entrepreneurs, we're trying to help make the world a better place.
Yeah. Yeah. So good, man. So good. One of the guys that was on our podcast a couple episodes ago, Jordan Rayner, him and I were having a conversation, and I was sharing with him some of my goals for Beyond Blue. I said, man, we're going to get to 3.5 million as an agency, and this is our big, hairy, audacious goal for the next 3 years. He's like, man, that's awesome. He was like, why? Why do you want to do that? And I was like, well, I don't know. He's like, you have to have a why, man. And I was like, well, I think it's because I want to steward it really well. Like, I want to steward this business. I want to grow it. He's like, but why? And I was like, freak, I don't know. Like, I don't. And he literally asked it 5 times in a row. And his whole point was, man, you want to ask yourself why 5 times for any reason of why you're doing something to really get to the root of it. And if the root of it isn't for the glory of God and for the good of others, if that's not like the true heart posture, then it's probably not a godly heart posture to have or motive in terms of where we're going in direction. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, I did. And I'm wondering what came from your 5 whys and what did that look like?
Yeah,
afterwards?
Man. I was so convicted by that conversation that I booked a cabin by myself without kids, without wife. And man, just really spent some time with God of like, okay, God, what's your purpose? What's your call for this marketing company? What do you want me to do with it? And where am I leading my people to? Because I need to have a why. And so, yeah, man, I really spent some time with the direction of where we're going. And I ended up getting a number of where we're going to. And it wasn't that far off with where I had initially landed, but the why changed to really taking care of my people and paying them crazy well. Like, that became my new motive. It's like, man, I just want to be a marketing agency that pays my team better than anybody else. And so that was like the thing of like, oh man, I got to do this for the glory of God and for the good of others. And so, man, it just, when you really spend some time with the Lord and he can kind of poke and prod and he can look at our own heart posture, man, it changes things.
Yeah. And I wonder, I think we have a responsibility, right? And by paying your people well, what are they? And I don't know about you, if you hire, recently we hired people who aren't all believers, but what does it show to the world? Who might those people go? And, Bible says that, we are the light of the world. City on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a lamp and put it underneath a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house.
Come on.
In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father who is in heaven. So, I'm curious for you, when God showed you that, it's kind of like, how are the people that work for you blessed? What will they might go on to do and share that blessing with others? But what have you found since you've started? Did that shift your mindset?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I think it really started to change some of the decisions that I was making in terms of, man, how are we promoting? How are we hiring? And we obviously would never hire based on beliefs or faith systems. We hire strictly on skills and capability and character. And so if all those things are there, man, like, you're going to be a great fit at Beyond Blue. But more than that, man, I just want to see you thriving in your purpose. Because again, the thing that I care about more than anything with our company is I want to glorify God with what we're doing. I don't want to just have a Christian marketing company. I want to have a marketing agency that does excellent work for people, takes care of our people, and loves my neighbor really well. And my neighbor is my employees, my customers, my vendors, all the things. So anyways, yeah, man, it really helped me change some of the decision making that I had. So anyways, that was my story. How about you, man? How are you walking in your kingdomness in NCIS? NCIS? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, it's actually NCS.
NCS.
Yeah.
NCIS is a crime show.
Yeah,
that's not the right one.
It's funny you mentioned that, because it was originally NCSIS, and that's what happens when you let an engineer name your company. It becomes Northern Colorado Security and Information Systems.
It's a lot. That's a mouthful, man.
Yeah.
Okay, NCS, got it. Keep going.
I was just thinking about what you were doing, in a sense that who are the companies that you're serving? You're serving people who have a dream, and whatever that dream may be, because entrepreneurs are all dreamers, they go on and may create something, and you're helping them do that. I think it's the same, for me, that it's just, we never know. This is why God sees the whole piece, and we only get, it's like, I think of the word that says, your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path, right? Mm-hmm. So I get the lamp, right? I always want to see the landing lights. I want to see, as an entrepreneur, I think, what's 4 months out? What's a year out? And I just don't think, I never know the impact that God wants to work through me. If I could be a vessel, if I could put my pride away, put away, because there's a lot of that always tries to push its way up. Yeah. And if I could be humble and just see what he has in front of me that day, there are so many opportunities to share the good news. Yes. It's, what does it look like to build treasures in heaven, and how do we do that? Through our work. Yes. It could be in every interaction. It could be how we treat our clients. It's in how we treat our employees. But it's funny. I used to work a lot in Boulder. At the time I was doing a lot of installations for dispensaries, and I wasn't sure how I felt about that, being a believer. But I remember being in Boulder, and one of the prayers that I would pray is, my hand would go on any door. I would ask God, and I would say, okay, Lord, help me to be a servant. Help me to find the need here and be a servant. And then when I was bold, I would add in the words, and if it be your will, give me boldness to share the name of Jesus Christ. Come on. And be careful when you pray that prayer, because I would be sitting in Boulder in a town that's very, let's just say, new agey. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, we're in a meeting talking about Jesus to people who don't know Jesus. Come on. So there are opportunities there. It's just, what is the fruit that I'm putting out to the world? How are they seeing Jesus in me, or are they seeing Jason? And that for me is the battle every day. It's kind of like putting away that flesh, and we never know, we might be the only Bible or the only Jesus that people get to meet. And, how blessed are we that he chooses us to be his vessels. And it's a little prideful, but I think God needs me. He doesn't need me, but he needs me to be a vessel. Yes. And to share that with others. So yeah, that's so good. And I think this is my personal hot take. I think that we need less missionaries, local missionaries, and we need more entrepreneurs doing the things that you're saying, of building a culture that's one of excellence and taking care of their people, and also doing the small things like, hey, praying before a call comes in. Like, hey, how can I bless this person? Praying on the door as you walk in to meet a prospective client. Those type of things, man, that changes a community. Like, that changes the spiritual, the spiritualness in an entire city or an organization or whatever it might be. So, man, I'm so encouraged by that. Let me ask you this question, man. As you've really, come up, what practical advice would you give to kingdom entrepreneurs that are wanting to grow in their faith and also run an excellent business? Because man, you've been through it, and you're doing the do. I sat in your last Foundry meeting, and man, I walked away feeling so convicted by just your radicalness to following Jesus, and man, I'm impressed. I'm impressed by that. So, what encouragement, what tactical advice would you give to the kingdom entrepreneur? Well, now I'm going to turn this back a little bit, but we were mentioning of how we serve, and the atmosphere that you've kind of created here, and especially with the Foundry, it took me a lot of time. Find mentors, right? Yeah. And find people that, what does it look like to humble yourself and to get around other like-minded people. I look at these when I show up for the Foundry every month. And when the Bible talks about, about axe sharpening and how do we sharpen each other, and it's only been recently, because I used to think I could do this, I knew this, but for any entrepreneur, get around like-minded men.
Yes.
Get around like-minded men. There are people that know things that you don't. I mean, some of my first meetings, I could remember specifically when I met with Jim Harrington here, and I met him through the Foundry, and he introduced me to EOS, and he's got a very successful business. He took the time to sit and show me what EOS was. I guess the point is it's very hard to do alone.
Yeah.
Unless you have, and one thing I am very blessed to have today is through the Foundry, through other avenues, I have a lot of mentors that if I could be humble, I come to them and say, hey, this is what I have going on. You know, it was kind of like at our last meeting. I had no idea how to read financial statements, balance sheets, and income statements. And I came in here just surrendering, hey guys, I don't know what I'm doing. I probably should, because I've owned a business for 18 years. But just being able to be that vulnerable in front of brothers or other men. And then what do we get to do? We sharpen our axe in here.
Come on.
And then we get to go out and take it into the marketplace and then be a blessing to others. So I guess for me, I'm not sure how that answered your question.
No, man,
but
that's money. That's so good.
For me, it was just so important to, I mean, and that's why, you know, thank you for creating this type of environment where we get to be vulnerable, where we get to come and bring our successes and our failures. And I think that's really what helped me get on the path that I'm headed down now.
Oh man, so encouraged by that. Thanks for sharing. I mean, that's literally why I created the Foundry, because selfishly I'm like, yeah, man, I need that. I need to bring my brokenness and my, hey, I don't understand this, I need help here, and for other people to punch me in the face and say, dude, you need to understand this, or you need to lean into this, or why are you spending money here? Questioning my motives, and pointing me back to the cross. So I'm like, man, I'm with you on that. I appreciate you sharing that, because yeah, man, the entrepreneurs that feel like they have it all figured out and that they don't need other people they're going to be in a world of hurt down the road. It might work for a season, but man, if you don't have men and women around you who are pointing you back to the cross, and making sure that you stay humble, making sure that your heart stays pure, making sure that you're doing this for the right reasons, and it's not just about the money. Yeah, man, I mean, that's how we create true legacy. So yeah, thanks for leaning in and also leading with humility. I was so impressed with your like, hey, help me here, guys, because I'm like, dude, that's why we made this thing. So yeah, man, well done.
It cost me a steak this week, but Matt and I sat down, and he sat there and walked me through it. But
let's go.
Well worth it though, and now it's like I'm actually fascinated by it, because who knew that income statements tell a story? Yes. And I'm like, oh wow, this is
so good.
But again, it's men like that, like Matt and Jim, who actually take the time. And it's like my first pastor, when I got saved, he said, I'll never forget, he says, we all need a Paul, a Timothy, and a Barnabas in our life.
Amen. Yeah.
Right? So what happens after I have my mentor who's teaching me these things, and then it's through the Foundry that I get to meet somebody, a younger man that's coming up, and then get to pass it on. But that's a question I'm kind of always looking around in my life. And then the Barnabas is the one that's walking next to you, that it's, you know, you're equally yoked, and just someone to run things by. But having those three, and the truth is, I get more out of the Timothy relationship when you're helping somebody else get through something and giving them tips. It's like, for me, I think that was the high that I was always chasing, that I could never get in a bottle or anywhere else. The peace, the purpose, and it literally is like getting high. You're getting high on Jesus, getting drunk on the Spirit.
Totally.
Is when you're living, and God showed me that once too. I feel closest to Him when He's using me for his purposes, and it's always in fellowship, it's always in relationship. And then when I'm not being selfish and he's having me pour out to somebody, it's like, feels like the Holy Spirit and God is right there, because that's what he created us for.
So good, man. So good. Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine what the ridiculous amount of joy that Jesus was feeling as he was washing the feet of his disciples, like in this servant posture. Like there's, I'm sure that there was joy and purpose and all the things like bubbling up in him as he gave us an example of what it looks like to walk in what you're talking about. Yeah, man, that's so good.
And then what does he tell us at the end of that? Go and do likewise.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, how did I miss this for so long? It's in order to, you can't have something unless you learn to give it away, right? And he gave the ultimate price for me. For me. Now how would you have me? And then what you discover is that when you do that, all of a sudden it's like, this is what it means to live a full life.
Preach.
In him.
And he promises that abundant life. And that's where people get it twisted, is the abundant life is not a massive business with crazy good net profits and the big house. That's not the abundant life. The abundant life is what you're talking about. It's an abundant life full of peace and full of joy, full of self-control, full of purpose, right? And so, yeah, man, I mean, there's a promise there for us, man. If we're leaning in to Jesus, man, there's a real promise of abundance there.
I agree. I mean, I've known a lot of people that have, I've worked for some wealthy clients and some of the, richest people in the world, and does it bring joy?
Yeah.
No. True joy comes from relationship with him.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on. Well, hey, let's land the plane here. Anything else that you can think of that would be, even from your story, that would be a blessing for the Kingdom entrepreneur that's listening, that's and maybe struggling with even the purpose. I know that there are listeners who are like, man, I love Jesus, I'm running a company, but I just always feel the purpose that you guys are talking about. So what would be your exhortation to them?
Exhortation. I heard you had Sarah Jane on last time, and what I love, something she had said was, it's taking that morning time to just get in union with him. I'm at this point in my business where it's scary. It's scary because sometimes don't know how I'm going to make payroll. I think of a quote, I think it was Abraham Lincoln that said, I have been brought many times to my knees when my wisdom and the wisdom of those about me were insufficient for the time. So for me right now, it's this, sometimes I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So what do? I take that time in the morning to say, God, I don't know what I'm doing. God, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
God, and just pouring your heart out to him. And as far as purpose or getting strength, it's like his word says, it says, you have not because you ask not. It says, if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives to all men generously and without reproach. So if you don't know what your why is or what your purpose is, ask him, and he will reveal it to you. He's such a good father that he wants to give us every good. He already has given us every blessing in Christ. But for those so when I heard that she said, she mentioned about not turning on her phone till 6:30. So God has been doing that a lot to me lately, where it's just spending the first couple hours with him in the morning.
Yes.
In his word. Just nothing like reading his word and asking him, and then spending that time in prayer, and then bringing it to him. If you don't know, if you're struggling with purpose, ask him.
Come on, man.
And he will tell you. And what I love about God is that, what I've learned over time is that he wants to hear specifics.
Yeah.
Right? If it says, cast all of your cares on me,
Yeah.
for I care for you. So it's like, sometimes I feel ridiculous because I'm asking him silly things, right? But all of it matters to him.
Yes.
And the more that I practice his presence and then learn. My problem is that I do that in the morning, and then I go throughout my day, and then I forget to check in.
Yeah.
And I forget to take that moment to go, okay, God, what next? Mm-hmm. How would you have me serve you next?
So good, man.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. And one of the things you said is, man, you're bringing your true self to the Lord in the morning. You know, my pastor, we had lunch a couple days ago, and we were talking about the false self. And when we bring any semblance of our false self to others or to God can't even hear our prayers if we're being in our false self, if we feel like we're like covering ourselves up, or we're not being our true self. Like he can't even hear our prayers because he doesn't know that version of us. He only knows the version of us that's real and true, and that's bringing the, like, I don't know what I'm doing and I need help, and like, here's my brokenness. He only knows that version of us. Like he sees behind all of it. You know, Adam and Eve go and they cover themselves up, and that's what we do in prayer sometimes. And so, yeah, man, I love that you're leaning in and not bringing your false self to God every morning. So, man, that's a great way to land the plane of, yeah, man, bring your true self to the Lord.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's like I've heard of God can't bless your avatar, right? He can only.
Yes.
We try to come to him. I try to come to him clean and, you know, without my sin and put together, and it's like,
doesn't work.
How can he bless that?
Right, he can't bless it. Yeah, man. Yeah. Jason, thanks for being on the podcast, man. It's such a blessing, and your story is one that encourages, convicts, and inspires. And yeah, man, couldn't be more thankful to know you and call you friend. So thanks for being on the podcast.
Ditto. And once again, I so appreciate the Foundry, and I mean, all the people that it's brought together, and it's really been a blessing in my life. So thanks you,
man.
for that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.